I, Anil Gulati, on behalf of UNICEF, would like to welcome all for launch of Impact for Nutrition State Secretariat today in Bhopal. We have with us Mr. Abhishek Mohan Gupta ji, Abhishek ji. He's the Pro-Chancellor of Jagran Lakecity University, founding chairman of FICCI Young Youth Leaders Forum, a man behind setting up this Impact for Nutrition. We have Dr. Sandeep Shastri, who's a Vice Chancellor here of Jagran Lakecity University. Dr. Divakar Shukla is with us. We have Dean and Registrar of Jagran Lakecity University with us. I'd like to introduce you to the panel from UNICEF who's joining us. We have Ms. Margaret Gwada. Margaret, can you see us? So Margaret Gwada is the Chief of UNICEF Madhya Pradesh. She's joining online. We have Arjan D Wagt, who's Chief of Nutrition of UNICEF. Arjan, we can't see you. Arjan? He's with us, Arjan D Wagt. We also have with us Richard Beighton, I think so. Oh, Arjan is here. Hi, Arjan. We would have with us Richard Beighton, who's a Chief of Resource Mobilisation and Partnerships, joining us with us. Gitanjali Master, who works with PPSC, person who is responsible for setting this secretariat up. We have Dr. Sameer. Dr. Sameer Pawar is on leave, but he's still joining us. Dr. Sameer, you're there. Hi, Dr. Sameer. He's joining us. He's our nutrition specialist at UNICEF, who will be troubling you, Mr. Gupta, more than me, actually. We have Pushpa Awasthy. You know Pushpa. She was a part of initial discussions. And we have Tarun with us, Tarun Patel with us, who is our nutrition officer. Tarun and me are with you at Jagran Lakecity University to start and launch this thing. Arjan still has to leave. So what we'll do is first go to Margaret to listen from her on terms of partnerships and the kind of her thinking on the way forward. Over to you, Margaret.
Thank you very much, Anil. Can you hear me? I hope so.
Yes, Margaret.
Thank you. Mr. Abhishek Gupta, the Pro-Chancellor of Jagran Lake University and founding chairman of the Federation of Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Dr. Sandeep Shastri, the Vice Chancellor of Jagran Lake University. Dr. Divakar Shukla, the Dean of Jagran Lake University. Members of FICCI Youth Leaders Forum and the Jagran Lake University staff available in the meeting this morning. UNICEF Chief of Nutrition, Arjan, together with our Chief of Resource Mobilisation and Partnerships, Richard, who's joining us shortly. My colleagues from the Delhi office and my colleagues from the MP team, good afternoon and namaste to you all. Indeed, it's very exciting and an honor to be part of this first launch of a State Secretariat for Impact for Nutrition initiative in India. That's the way to go, Madhya Pradesh State. And congratulations and thank you, Mr. Abhishek Gupta and your team for your kind support and initiative in making this happen. Madhya Pradesh still records the highest infant mortality rates of 48 infant deaths for every 1,000 live births, according to the 2020 SRS data of the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner of India. 3.1 million children in MP are stunted. 1.4 million children are wasted, with 500,000 of them severely wasted. That is about 6.6% higher than the India average of 4.9%. Anemia continues to affect more than 50% of the population in any age group. And therefore, I'm sure that we all agree that the COVID-19 pandemic and other disasters like floods that are impacting on part of our state have and would continue to worsen the situation and the well-being of children in the state if not properly prepared for. Ladies and gentlemen, addressing the challenge of malnutrition, therefore, under these circumstances, therefore, is not easy and cannot be left to the government alone. It demands a lot more to achieve, and therefore coverage, continuity, intensity, and quality. The C-squared IQ initiative that I know Arjan, our Chief of Nutrition, really always reminds us of is an objective that brings together a range of partners, including government and development partners, corporate and NGOs. MP state government's decision, therefore, to place nutrition as a priority agenda is highly commendable. The 2021 to 2030 state nutrition policy that the MP State Cabinet endorsed recently is a concrete example of the state's commitment in making nutrition a top agenda. We continue to see the impact of these initiatives on the ground, and to ensure its full actualization, the full actualization of the policy, we require strategic partnerships with government leadership to bring real change in the lives of children in our state of MP. UNICEF is therefore delighted today to partner in this Impact for Nutrition Secretariat initiative that will facilitate the mapping and the engagement of the private sector to mobilize and harness their individual capacities and their power for nutrition and for the children of MP. Contribution from the private sector is therefore key in augmenting government efforts in achieving its Poshan Abhiyan, that is the nutrition mission goals and targets, with promotion of good nutrition across the business ecosystem using responsible business practices or through their employee engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore, you can count on UNICEF's full support to this initiative. And as mentioned right now by Anil, you can see the team that is behind this force. And we really look forward to working together to address the challenge of nutrition in MP. Thank you very much. And I really look forward to pushing this agenda, moving this agenda forward in our state. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much for your kind words. And in between, we had Richard Beighton, who's joined us. Richard, are you there? Yeah, so he's our Chief of Resource Mobilization and Partnerships behind getting all the private sector in India with engaging with UNICEF India. Gitanjali, we're still waiting to hear from you, but we'll now go to Aryan to hear from his thoughts on the whole impact for nutrition. A man behind pushing this whole agenda of impact for nutrition is Aryan, our Chief of Nutrition, UNICEF India. Over to you, Aryan.
Thank you, and good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes.
Clear.
I saw you walking back, so I was sure that you could hear me. Good afternoon. I'm so sorry I cannot be there. Why? Because Impact for Nutrition was born in Delhi, but I strongly believe that Impact for Nutrition needs to grow up in the States. And I think that's really what today is about. So I wished I could be there, but as you understand, we still have some limitations on mingling and traveling and all those kind of things. So best greetings from Delhi. Impact for Nutrition, and I hope you understand what Impact for Nutrition stands for. Impact is not only impact for children and for nutrition. Impact is the initiative to mobilize private action for nutrition. So in this name, Impact for Nutrition, we've combined different messages. It's about impact for nutrition, but it's also about an initiative to mobilize private action. And I think that's very much where Impact for Nutrition is about. When we look at the nutrition situation in India and in the state, and Margaret has given some of the details. If you ask me, and I'm a nutrition officer, I'm nutrition lead of the nutrition team. If you ask me what's the #1 problem, surprise, surprise, it's what we eat. Yeah, it might sound funny, but the thing is that many people eat to have food in the stomach because they're hungry. And not many people realize that eating is about nutrition. It's about brain. You need nutrition for brain development. As a little child, if you don't get the nutrients, your brain, your IQ remains behind. And actually, your IQ will be lower in malnourished children. But also older people, when you have anemia, you feel tired, you feel sluggish. Yeah, and of course, nutrition is about feeling strong. It's about health. It's about the immune system. We know that overnutrition is actually a risk factor for COVID and the risk of COVID. Undernutrition is linked to not being able to fight infectious diseases as well. Now, many people, as I said, diets are poor. And that's not because people are poor. If you look in India, among the poorest people, 50% of the children have malnutrition, stunting. But also 50% do not have stunting. So being poor does not mean that you have a stunted child. On the other hand, if you look at the richest people, 20% of the children growing up in the richest families have stunted. So being rich does not mean that you will be well nourished. And again, for me, it's all about what I call nutrition literacy. Do we understand how important nutrition is? And many people just simply don't know it. Portion Abidjan was launched 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago, by the Prime Minister. And I see the Portion Abidjan was a promise to the nation to stop child malnutrition in the country. And at state level, stop child malnutrition in the states. And Portion Abidjan came together with Jan Andelen. It was realized that government can provide services, but at the end, families, communities, parents provide the food. Children, parents, they eat the food. So we need to educate through Jan Andelen. We need to educate people about nutrition. And with all respect to government, and while government provides services, I think that nutrition is too important to leave to government. And therefore, with Jan Andelen, with a mass movement, with all parts of society being part of promoting nutrition literacy, then we can make a change. And the big part that was missing from society to be part of this Jan Andelen was the private sector till a few years ago. And this started as a dream. This started literally, it was with a group of people who said, hey, imagine not hundreds, not thousands, imagine tens of thousands of companies in India would join this movement to stop child malnutrition in India. Tens of thousands of companies would, without spending too much resources, would do something to create awareness, to be part of promoting nutrition literacy in the communities where they work, for their employees, among themselves, maybe among customers and clients. And how do you do that? And I think that today we'll hear several examples of that. So started with a dream, and I think that where we are now, the dream is progressing. A lot of people are dreaming together, and that's what Impact for Nutrition is about. And I'm very excited, as I said, while a lot of companies might have their headquarters in Maharashtra, in Hyderabad, in Delhi, we also need the companies in other states, and in the future, potentially also in districts, because that is where a lot of employment takes place as well. So congratulations to the team in the States, congratulations to the organizers, congratulations to everyone who's going to start this state chapter for the initiative to mobilize private action on nutrition, to be part of the Jan Andelen, to stop child malnutrition in the States. A lot of success, and UNICEF and many other partners. This is not about UNICEF, it is about you, it's about the private sector, it's about the actors. We are all proud to be part of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you very much. And next time when you're in Bhopal, one of your offices is Impact for Nutrition at Jagran Lakecity University. So you must visit the place. Yeah, now, just one information, everything which you are speaking and this whole discussion is going on YouTube Live by Jagran Lakecity channel. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Abhishek Gupta to kind of see what he sees as a future for Impact for Nutrition State Secretariat in Madhya Pradesh. Over to you.
Good evening, everyone present, joining us online, and my colleagues joining us offline. Firstly, I would like to thank Ms. Margaret, UNICEF Chief of Madhya Pradesh, Arjan, Anil Gulati ji, Richard, and rest of the team at the UNICEF to kindly extend this opportunity to the Jagran Lakecity University to set up such an amazing concept and such an amazing initiative, and making part of your team as an extended team as Jagran Lakecity University. At Jagran Lakecity University, being a young university, we've always looked in various ways to impact not only our students but also the society we service, because we believe that as the education institution, it is a responsibility for us not only to educate students who come to us, but also to make a real impact and real change in the society. And I think this small step will take us forward in that direction. Setting something like this is also part of our vision, where we want that people who have been left behind for whatever reason are taken into the stride and are taken at equal level to the people who are already privileged. I think among many initiatives, one initiative which I would like to tell about the university is also how we have ensured that we reserve 10% of seats for the people who are not able to afford or the less privileged in the society, because we believe that taking these people in stride with the university is very, very important. And I think this initiative of setting up a state secretariat for impact for nutrition is also another initiative which will take our vision forward. As a university, we believe that setting up these kind of secretariats also help our students to have a broader, wider exposure to various aspects of the society. It will not only help the university and its students and the faculty to grow, but will also help us to understand the various nuances which are prevalent in the society. As a university, we are very happy to extend full support to the initiative. We have already agreed to set up a full secretariat, dedicated secretariat for the impact for nutrition. And I'm sure that along with the various partnerships with the university have with corporates, both in the state and across the India, we will be able to propagate this agenda in a far stronger way. As our discussion, Anilji, started way back, I think in some way or the other, we have already started discussing with the companies and the organizations which are already part of our university to join hands with us for this initiative. Also, speaking on behalf of the FICCI Young Leaders, where I chair the state chapter, we all are very excited to work along with UNICEF and Jagran Lakecity University to propagate this this agenda in the state of Madhya Pradesh. And I'm sure we will define some timelines, and within those timelines, try to achieve impact which can be shown, and this so that we ensure that this secretariat remains an active secretariat and good work can happen on the ground. So thank you so much once again, UNICEF and everyone present to select Jagran Lakecity University as partner for this great initiative.
Thank you, Abhishek ji, and we look forward to your support. Thanks for extending all the support you have been to us. Now we have an agreement, which was a letter of intent, which was signed by Chief of Country Representative of UNICEF India, Dr. Yasmin Ali Haque. We'll request Mr. Abhishek Mohan Gupta to please also countersign it. Tarun. So Margaret, Aryan, and Richard, we have it finally done here. Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Now, thank you very much, Abhishek ji. Now we'll go to Richard and hear from him. He's our Chief of Resource Mobilization and Partnerships. Talk about the private sector and how it can play a major role in nutrition. And he's very excited to have this state secretariat set up. Over to Richard.
Good afternoon. I hope everybody can hear well. And thanks, first of all, to everybody for making today happen. It's taken a lot of partners, most of whom have been mentioned, but I'm sure others as well. And so it's an exciting day for us. I head the Resource Mobilisation and Partnerships for UNICEF, team for UNICEF in India. And Impact for Nutrition has been one of our flagships, key flagships throughout the last couple of years. In fact, it's an award-winning partnership. Such is the impact that it's having on nutrition in India. So we're delighted to be bringing it to MP and to include the state, or rather to see the state lead in taking this success to another level. As Ariane said, it can't succeed on a national level. It has to succeed at a state level, in a community level, down to individuals. So we're absolutely delighted to be part of the session today. I think the case for nutrition has already been made. It's the most important single factor driving India's development. It's its core. We talk about health. We think about everything else, but health comes from what we eat, from what we feed ourselves. So I think its place is proven. But why are we here, and why are we talking about the private sector? Why impact for nutrition? And increasingly, the private sector is the key to unlocking progress. We know that India has one of the best CSR sectors in the world, probably from exposure to so many countries globally, probably the best CSR sector in the world, the most vibrant. But why get involved in this area? What is it that we can do together that is so much stronger than leaving it to government or to NGOs? And firstly, I think because it's our duty, we have responsibilities to the communities where we work, to where the private sector makes its money. It's a duty of care, a duty of paying back, and a duty of standing together in areas that need to be improved. But second, and maybe more pertinent, it's in your financial and economic interest directly to get involved, especially in nutrition. A healthy and properly nourished population is a successful population, a successful economy in which to conduct our business. But directly, a healthy workforce is a more productive, a more cost-efficient workforce, less time off sick, less time off caring for family, and benefits from healthier customers too, especially for any company that's involved in business to consumer markets. Success in tackling malnutrition in all its forms has a multiplier effect. It boosts household level, but through that it boosts the whole economic level, improves health, it boosts income, and it's like a circular, an ongoing circular improvement, circular win. By improving health, we boost income. That stimulates the economic development, and we start, and that improves education. And with education, as Arjan was talking, comes a better nutrition. For some, cost is the reason for poor nutrition. For many, it's not. That's about education, and the two need to improve hand in hand. The private sector, therefore, can play a really catalytic role in nutrition. Investing in employees' time, investing in workplace wellness, investing in CSR resources, adding value to existing CSR programs or co-creating new ones, involving their assets for nutrition. In I4N, we call it the ACE card. Assets, cash, employees. Assets, what do we mean by assets, and how do we use them for nutrition? Well, take a few examples, especially maybe around messaging to stakeholders. How can you use your assets to give messaging, to give examples that improve nutrition? We've seen examples where the owners of billboards use them when they're empty. And instead of saying, if you want to use this billboard, phone this number, the primary space is a health message, and then the phone number. And in doing that, it's actually more successful because people realize that it works, and then they know how to use it for themselves. Thinking about a pharmacy, talking about, going into Nutrition Week, into Good Nutrition Week, or all year, just promoting the products that help to drive good nutrition. For example, iron supplements. So it might be something simple like putting a message on shopping bags, if we're still using them, so that people, where it's another place that is free space, people get a message. Or maybe a much better example, health insurers are directly benefiting from a healthier customer base, because somebody with better nutrition is going to use less health insurance, even life insurance. So many assets. And I think it doesn't take long. Whenever we've sat down with partners, and we're happy to do it further with new partners, we'd be delighted to think about what assets can be used. And normally we start, we meet after, the first round, we end up with a couple. But after a couple, after an hour, we've got so many that it's just, and it creates a vibrant communications campaign. So that's assets, using assets. The second one, cash, also CSR. What is it in which, if we've agreed, if we're clear that nutrition is the most important single factor driving development, then it should be a part of CSR programs. And whether that's a formal CSR program under the 2% rule, or whether that's just the work that a company does to be socially responsible, doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter why you're doing it, but the fact you're doing it, nutrition is an important part of that. And in doing that, in using, and then the third area is employees. So, as we've already said, employees are all of our key asset. They are what drive the business. It's the core to any success. Everything else comes on that foundation. So to recognize, to support, promote nutritional health amongst our employees has to be a win for the company, has to be a win for the country. And in doing those three things, assets, cash, through CSR, and employees, is how the private sector can support the government initiatives of Poshan Abhiyan and act as a multiplier to those government and NGO actions. Corporates often have a captive audience. If they're in your premises, so if customers are in your premises, when employees are at work, when people get your communications which they need to use products or services, it's a captive audience, and therefore the influence over them is large, and the ability to promote good nutritional practices is huge. We've said already, but this first state chapter for I4N is a landmark, and we're really happy that it's in Madhya Pradesh, because it's a large state with industries spread out, geographically. So often harder to reach communities where the impact of employer, or the potential impact of employer on people's lives, is greater. And the large enterprises, as in the state, show the potential for us together to do great things. And the diversity and the spread and the type of business is critical factors. I4N is a pioneering initiative, and we reach out to a broad spectrum of stakeholders, enable them to invest in nutrition for their employees and for their communities. If we talk to employees, we're effectively talking to the same number of families, more families. Again, multiplier effect. One employee can teach their wider family and even other neighbors how to do the same thing in a better way. Not spend more money, as Arjan said, but just by being better educated, to do a better job for their families. And so we think this torch-bearing initiative is an example for many other states to follow. We will be proud to launch other states as the second or third, but only MP will be the first state to have an I4N initiative. And that allows us to showcase the role of the private sector in MP and take that to other states. So in closing, it's probably obvious as a summary, but investing in nutrition for children and adults today is empowering the consumers, the employees, and the business leaders of tomorrow. In simple terms, it's good business and good for business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. And thank you for your kind words. And especially he talks about ACE, which is asset, cash, and employees, a new word for us also, and to take it forward. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. Now I would like to request Dr. Sandeep Shastri, who's the Vice Chancellor of Jagran Lakecity University. I'm sure and he brings a lot of experience with him. So over to you.
The Country Chief UNICEF India, Ms. Margaret Gwada, my Honorable Pro-Chancellor Abhishek sir, the Chief of UNICEF for Madhya Pradesh, Mr. Arjan, the Chief of the Nutrition Section of UNICEF India, Mr. Richard, who we just now heard, the Chief Resource Mobilization Partnerships of UNICEF India, Dr. Sameer Pawar, Gulati ji, Tarun ji, my colleagues from the university, and distinguished members of this audience. It's a very special day for us at Jagran Lakecity University to add one more feather to our cap of activities. I'm not talking of cap of achievements. That would be bigger than a cap. To our cap of activities, we are delighted to add this very, very important cap. Because as our Pro-Chancellor mentioned as part of his address, Jagran as a university has always been in the forefront of being part of holistic development, of being the initiator of innovation. And we see today's memorandum of understanding that is signed as a step in that direction. As I was thinking of our focus on nutrition today, I decided to do some reading myself into Indian tradition. And Indian tradition has an interesting word called paushtikam. And if you look at paushtikam and translate paushtikam into English, it's actually 3 N's. There are 2 other N's other than nutrition, which paushtikam means. It means nourishment, it means nurturing, and it means nutrition. And I think UNICEF's focus on nutrition, UNICEF's slogan, for every child, is about this larger paushtikam: nutrition, nourishment, and nurture. And what better place to locate your Madhya Pradesh activities than Jagran Lakecity University, where for us, nutrition for the body and nutrition for the mind are not separate. As a hub of knowledge, we look at the nutrition for the mind. And we also believe that this nutrition for the mind is not possible unless there is the nutrition for the body. So Gulati ji, we are at the right place in terms of the synergy of activities that we will see. And I'm sure today's partnership will be a start of many, many, many more initiatives in the months and years ahead, where Jagran Lakecity University partners to ensure the all-round development of not just Madhya Pradesh, not just the country, but partners with UNICEF for the attainment of its goal of every child being taken care of. And we do hope that we can partner with you in this particular dream within the state of Madhya Pradesh. Thank you for coming to us and joining up with us. It's our privilege. And as a member of the Jagran Lakecity University family, I feel truly honored to be part of this very, very important event. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words, and the 3 N's, we'll always remember that. Now I'd like to hand over to Dr. Divakar Shukla, our friend and Dean of Jagran Lakecity University, for his vote of thanks. Thank you.
Good evening to all. We believe that today's crystallization of statement of intent between UNICEF and Jagran Lakecity University and I4N Impact for Nutrition platform and setting up this state secretariat in the state of Madhya Pradesh will augment efforts related to and around nutrition by state government, by UNICEF, Madhya Pradesh, I4N network, NGOs, grassroots rural and urban CBOs, health sector, academic institutions, as well as private sector organizations and the various industry bodies. We believe that Poshan Abhiyan, which is India's flagship program to improve nutritional status of children, adolescents, pregnant women, and lactating mothers will get stronger leg as far as this secretariat is concerned. So it's an honor for me to be given this responsibility to propose the vote of thanks. I must thank the Country Chief UNICEF India, Dr.Yasmin Haque, and my Pro-Chancellor, Shri Abhishek Mohan Gupta of Jagran Lakecity University for laying this particular paths of this collaboration amongst diverse and like-minded set of stakeholders and people in the state of Madhya Pradesh. My special appreciation to Ms. Margaret Gwada, Chief UNICEF State of Madhya Pradesh, for being a catalyst and inspiring the entire team to conceptualize this I4N State Secretariat in Madhya Pradesh based at Jagran Lakecity University. I'm hugely grateful to Mr. Arjan, Chief of Nutrition UNICEF India, and Mr. Richard Beighton, Chief of Resource Mobilization and Partnerships UNICEF India, who with their words and guidance and vision have given us State Secretariat being established today a strong purpose around nutrition. And I think this particular purpose part is very, very important for all of us at Jagran Lakecity University, and I know definitely at UNICEF. I must thank Gitanjali Master, who since many months have been extremely useful and literally handheld us how to build up and mount this particular secretariat. So I must thank you, Gitanjali, for being with us throughout and making sure that we reach the day that we are seeing today. A special word of gratitude to Dr.Sameer Pawar, nutritional specialist, Ms.Pushpa, Awasthy, nutrition officer of UNICEF MP office, along with Mr.Tarun Patel, the nutrition officer, who have all throughout this particular journey of while we were planning this secretariat and the day of today, to be with us and show that we were moving at a steady path. My gratitude to the team of FICCI young leaders and other industry bodies for giving us the belief that we can do all this together. I must thank my Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Sandeep Shastri, for always being a pillar of support for us, as well as to our registrar, Dr. Vivek Khare, who with his enthusiasm and guidance always is there to support such initiatives within the university. Mr. Anil Gulati, communication specialist at UNICEF MP office. Anil, you triggered this off, and look where we are here today. We have a purpose, we are excited, and we're driven to serve the nutrition initiatives in the state of Madhya Pradesh. So Maya Yasin, who's one of our alumni as well, and now a very smart budding professional, is also here with us. And between us, we have decided that we would definitely give her a chance to be the coordinator as far as our state secretariat is concerned. My gratitude to the entire Faculty of Journalism and Creative Studies team, to all the faculties within Jagran Lakecity Universities, the communication team, the technical team, for mounting this particular event, wherein we can have this letter of intent being signed between our two very interesting and very robust bodies. Thank you all for joining us today. Let's work together to make an impact on nutrition in Madhya Pradesh. Good evening to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we'd like to close the event. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Sameer, Pushpa, for joining us, and Arjan. Thank you very much. We also have Shubhrajyoti and Gitanjali with us. Thank you very much all to joining us. Bye-bye. Have a good evening.